if you want to support this channel and get cool anime merch at the same time, like the Dragon Sin of Wrath Meliodas, Feel the Wrath of My Dragon, and the Lion Sin of Pride Escanor, Praise the Sun. Check out our online store, link in the description. What is up, everybody? It's Animac here for Anime Uproar, and in this video we will be talking about who is the strongest member of the 7 Deadly Sins. Thank you guys again for the massive support you've shown for our previous 7 Deadly Sins videos. I have now created a playlist where you can find them all in one place, and I will link that playlist in the description. One of the biggest topics of discussion in the comments on these videos was the question of which of the 7 Deadly Sins is the strongest. So in this video we will look at the facts, the stats, and the unique abilities of each member in order to rank them by power all the way up to the strongest. In order to make sure that I'm doing the best possible job ranking them, I invited a good friend of mine to help me with this video.
Yellow, thank you so much for having me, man, and I hope everyone watching enjoys this video. I have literally trained my entire life for this moment.
Thanks so much for joining me, Briggs. With a big topic like this, 2 heads are always better than 1. Over at All Day Anime, Briggs has been making 7 Deadly Sins content and researching the series for years, so it is great to have him on board for this one. Be sure to check out his channel, link in the description. If you enjoy the 7 Deadly Sins content on this channel, be sure to leave a like to let me know, and if you are new, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We are now posting daily anime content on Twitter and Instagram, so feel free to follow us there at Anime Uproar. Before we get started with the rankings, I want to stress that regardless of the rankings, none of these characters are weak. In fact, all members of the 7 Deadly Sins are among the strongest characters in the entire story, and depending on the circumstances and on their unique skills and abilities, they can often surprise opponents that have an even higher power level than they do. Also, once we get to the top 3 strongest members, you will see that a valid argument can be made for all 3 of them potentially being the strongest. This is not an exact science, and we will do our best to explain our logic, but also provide the possible counter-arguments. And of course, if you disagree with this order, feel free to tell us why down in the comments, no hard feelings. There will be some manga spoilers in this video about the background and abilities of the characters, since there is no other way to make this video properly. However, we will not spoil what actually happens in the story, just the powers and abilities of the characters. And starting things off with Gowther. Gowther is actually a doll who was created by a powerful mage. And as a result, Gowther's body is highly resistant to physical attacks. Gowther can take the type of damage that would kill a normal person. Even if his head is removed from his body, he can simply put it back on. Gowther has the unique ability known as Invasion, which allows him to read the minds of others. And if he wants to, he can trap his opponents inside their own traumatic memories. Gowther also has the ability to transform parts of his body, like changing the length and color of his hair. The name of his sacred treasure is Herit, and it allows him to summon 2 bows of light that he can fire at opponents. When used together with his ability Invasion, the bows allow Gowther to knock a large group of people unconscious in an instant, and he can even rewrite the memories of a large number of people at long range. Due to the fact that he is a doll, Gowther doesn't need to eat or drink. However, he does need his glasses because he has very poor vision and cannot see without them, so that is a potential weakness in battle.
Diane is a member of the Giant clan, and the Giants are known for being some of the strongest warriors in history, and for having incredible physical strength. As such, Diane is 30 feet tall, and she has outstanding physical strength and stamina. She can sustain a lot of damage and still keep fighting, and she is especially effective in defense. As a giant, she has a unique ability known as Creation, that enables her to manipulate the earth in order to create massive weapons and even moving creatures like powerful golems, that she could use in battle against her enemies. Using the dancing technique of the giants, she can avoid attacks more effectively than the average fighter. Her sacred treasure is Gideon, a massive warhammer that enhances her physical might and earth manipulating abilities. Her overall power level at its highest recorded level so far in the series was 48,000. Now, we can say that she is considerably stronger than Gowther, because she was able to defeat him in her human form after Gowther altered the memories of Julia and her brother Zeal during the Albion arc. And it's worth noting that Diane is much stronger when she is at her full size. You know, cause of physics and stuff.
Next up is Ban. Ban was once human, but he is now immortal because he drank from the Fountain of Youth. This means that he doesn't age and his body regenerates instantly whenever he is injured. That in itself is an incredible ability to have in battle. But on top of that, Ban is also very fast and strong. His special ability Snatch enables him to steal objects from others without making direct contact, including their vital organs, which can obviously be extremely deadly. Ban can also steal the physical power, stamina, and speed of his opponents, which makes his opponent progressively weaker as Ban becomes stronger. The reason we placed Ban ahead of Diane is the fact that Diane cannot kill him due to his immortality, and also because of the nature of Snatch. Diane's biggest asset is her physical strength, and using Snatch, Ban would be able to steal her physical strength and make himself stronger while she gets weaker. While this process takes time, because Diane cannot kill Ban due to his immortality, we believe that in a one-on-one battle, he would have plenty of time to steal enough of her power to win in the long run. Ban's sacred treasure is known as Kurachus, but Ban currently does not have it in his possession. However, for the purposes of this video, we are assuming that Ban would be fighting at full power with his sacred treasure by his side. And then we have King.
As a fairy, King can fly, and he can also transform his appearance. Like other fairies, King is very weak physically, but he makes up for it with his speed and immense magical power. As the Fairy King, he has a special ability called Disaster, which allows him to control and modify organic matter, including nature. King's sacred treasure is the Spirit Spear Chastiful, which was made from the sacred tree located inside the fairy realm. The treasure can change into different objects and various deadly weapons, like a truckload of spears for example, and King's ability Disaster, which has power over nature, allows him to bring out the full potential of his sacred treasure. This makes King an exceptionally powerful character overall. His ability to fly gives him a big edge over the other Sins like Diane and Ban, since he can throw deadly spears at them from far up in the sky, and since Ban's ability Snatch works only on his opponent's physical abilities, Ban would not be able to counter King's magical attacks. And the boost in power that Ban would get from taking King's physical strength would be very small. Even though Ban is immortal, King can use his spears or other weapons to pin Ban down and trap him, effectively taking him out of commission, which is why King places higher than Ban, Diane, and Gowther in our rankings.
And now, on to the top 3. As I mentioned earlier, a valid argument can be made for all 3 being the strongest, depending on the circumstances. We will talk about the details as we go, but first, at number 3, we have Merlin. Merlin is Britannia's greatest mage, and she has unmatched magical powers. She is able to perform a wide variety of useful and powerful spells, and one of her special abilities is Infinity, which enables her to make her spells last forever. Merlin even used a spell to stop her own body from aging at age 30, making her virtually immortal. And in the world of the 7 deadly sins, her magical abilities are considered to be in a totally different league from the powers of an ordinary mage. Merlin can levitate, teleport, and she also has the ability known as Absolute Cancel, which allows her to cancel out and erase the spells of others. Merlin can use her magic to locate a specific person or object in an area the size of an entire city, and the name of her sacred treasure is the Morning Star of Aldan. The full magical properties of this treasure are still unknown, but we know that Merlin can use it to look in on what's happening in other places and also to cast spells. Merlin's actual power level is impossible to guess because of her uncharted magical abilities. We know that she received secret knowledge from both the Demon King, the ruler of the Demon Clan, and the supreme deity, the ruler of the goddess clan. So it is safe to assume that Merlin has many magical tricks up her sleeve that no one else even knows about. Because Merlin is highly intelligent and has incredible magical powers, including secret knowledge that no one else even knows about, we could definitely make a valid argument that Merlin is the strongest sin because, depending on the circumstances, she could use her intelligence and secret magical abilities to trick and outsmart her opponents. If she uses a powerful spell that her opponents never heard of and she catches them off guard, she could theoretically defeat even the strongest enemy. So, keeping all of this in mind, on this list we are putting her at number 3 because at number 2 we have Escanor.
And now, the moment you guys have all been waiting for, obviously the best character in the series, Escanor, praise the fucking sun, or praise the sun, if we want to keep this PG. Even though at nighttime he is confirmed to be the weakest of the 7 deadly sins, as the sun rises each day, Escanor's power grows immensely every hour until it reaches its maximum strength at noon. As his power grows, his body becomes incredibly tall and muscular until he reaches his peak at noon, at which point he towers over regular people, both in terms of stature and power. At noon each day, Escanor's power is at its highest for 1 minute. And according to Merlin herself, Escanor is easily the strongest of all the 7 deadly sins at this point, with a power level of over 100,000. The name of Escanor's sacred treasure is the Divine Axe Rita, a massive and insanely heavy battle axe. In his daytime form, Escanor gives off an immense amount of heat, which can actually hurt those around him. But his sacred treasure allows him to gather and store all of that excess energy into the axe, and then release it later when he needs it. Now, due to the wild fluctuations of his power between day and night, it is virtually impossible to measure the true extent of Escanor's power. And I strongly believe that during that 1 minute, just like Merlin says, that he is the strongest sin and even potentially the strongest in the series. The problem is I can't give him that number 1 spot because he has too many weaknesses. For example, during that minute, if his opponent is simply able to avoid him, which isn't unrealistic considering so many people could fly in the series, Escanor will start getting weaker and weaker as time goes on. And because of this limitation, Escanor is at number 2 on the list, and at number 1 we have
Meliodas. As the son of the Demon King and a former leader of the 10 Commandments, Meliodas has unbelievably strong demonic powers, and it is no wonder that he is the captain of the 7 deadly sins. Meliodas possesses an ability known as Hellblaze, which allows him to create and manipulate mysterious black flames. This demonic ability is so powerful that it can even injure immortal creatures and stop them from regenerating. So even Ban, who is immortal, can be permanently injured by Meliodas. When he loses control and his demonic power takes over, Meliodas' power level flies off the charts and he is able to destroy entire kingdoms on his own. But the drawback is that in this so-called assault mode, he essentially goes berserk, which often leads to terrible collateral damage. Meliodas can use full counter, which is the ability to literally counter a magical attack and reflect it back at his opponent with even greater power than the original attack. And the more powerful the opponent's magic, the more effective full counter is. This is an incredibly useful skill to have when facing someone who focuses on magical powers like King, Gowther, and Merlin, but it cannot be used to counter physical attacks. The name of Meliodas' sacred treasure is the Demon Sword Lost Vein, and it enables Meliodas to create clones of himself. He can actually create up to 4 clones, but the clones will be significantly weaker than the original. For much of the series, we have no idea of the true extent of Meliodas' power because the majority of his power was sealed away by Merlin in order to keep him from losing control and going berserk. As the story goes on, we begin to understand the true extent of Meliodas' power, including the fact that he was cursed by the Demon King so that he cannot die, meaning that Meliodas is essentially immortal. After unlocking the full potential of his demonic powers, and while in his assault mode, Meliodas' power level has been measured to be as high as 142,000. And although Escanor is still a match for Meliodas at the height of his power at noon, in the long term, Meliodas, after unlocking his full demonic powers, is the strongest sin in our opinion. And that is it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching, and let us know down in the comments if you agree with our rankings, and if you don't, that's totally cool. Just let us know why down in the comments. As I said, this is not an exact science, and given the right circumstances, any one of these characters could surprise us. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more 7 Deadly Sins content on this channel, be sure to leave a like to let me know. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And we are now posting daily anime content on Twitter and Instagram. Be sure to follow us there at Anime Uproar. A huge thank you to my boy Briggs from All Day Anime for helping out with this video. Always a pleasure working with him. Be sure to check out his channel, link in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the kind words and support. A lot more 7 Deadly Sins content is on the way. And until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.